important tips for writing. Number one is putting the reader first, which means that the reader is the person who is going to check your copy, right? Like your examiner. So the person who is going to check your copy must know or must like the things that you're reading. So you have to understand that you cannot use any colloquial language or any slangs or any abbreviations, because of course the person who is reading this might get offended, okay? Then we see number two, use simple words and short sentences. However, by simple words and short sentences, I do not mean only these. I also mean use a range of sentences, okay? What does the word range of sentences mean? In our next classes, we will be seeing that there are many different types of sentences which are simple, complex, compound, and more. So whenever we write an essay, we have to make sure we write a combination of all of these sentences. Use jargon only when necessary. What is the word jargon? Jargon means of any particular subject, there are some things that only that particular subject contains of. For example, in biology, we have terms like mitochondria, nucleus, cells, which maybe someone else who is studying only English might not understand. If you ask someone who is studying English, what is a cell? He might mean a cell is an enclosed area or an enclosed place inside a hotel or something. But no, cell does not mean that in biology, right? So you have to make sure that you use these jargons in relation to the subject that you're writing off, okay? Write with verbs and nouns and all of the different parts of speeches that we know, and make sure that you follow the format to improve readability. Readability means the ability to read properly. So let's look at all of these parts one by one. Number one is putting the reader first. We have to understand that whatever you are communicating, they must be equal to whatever is being understood. Communication is equals to understanding. Why? Because what is the point of writing something, or what is the point of me talking so much in front of the camera if you do not get what I'm saying, right? For this reason, I need to make sure that my communication is expressive enough or my writing is clear enough so that the reader can actually understand that that is what I'm trying to express. Write to express and not impress. You have to make sure that whenever you're writing something, the reader is actually understanding what you're saying. However, if you just put a lot of random hard vocabulary words in your essay, which might not make any sense, you might think, wow, the person who's checking my copies might be impressed that I know so many words. However, if you do not know how to use these words or whether all of these words are necessary or not in the first place is a concern. So no, do not do that. Make sure that you are writing things that you are sure of. Then use words that the readers can picture. Whenever you write a story, you have to make sure that you explain all of the elements of the story, which we will be learning about in our next video. So all of the elements mean that you will be describing the weather, the time, the place, the person, the appearances, and many other things. So if you do not explain them in this way, the person will not get a lucid connection or a vivid connection in their eyes that yes, this story is actually happening in front of my eyes. And not doing that will mean that your writing is not up to any good. Tie into the reader's experience. Write in such a way so that the readers feel like, wow, this actually has happened to me before. And then WIIFM, which stands for what's in it for me. This means that the reason why you're writing is very important. You have to understand that right now you're practicing because you are actually getting graded or marked on your answers. So if you go on and on writing about many different things that are inside your imagination, maybe they do not exist, then yes, you may be qualified or classified as an amazing writer. However, because there's someone who is guiding you and who is marking your answers, you have to make sure that that person understands what you're trying to say as well. So don't try to be William Shakespeare. Try to make sure that your grammar and everything is aligned, and then make sure that your imagination comes to play. The second thing is using simple and short sentences. Why? Let's look at these two sentences. The first sentence says, as pertaining to the question of whether or not to construct a new storage facility, corporate management will ascertain the appropriateness of such an issue in the near future. So, by the moment that you've already read this sentence, a lot of you might be asking what it's actually saying. So what it's actually saying is this, that the management will decide next week whether to build a new storage facility. So something that can be expressed in such a few words or such short sentences should be expressed in that way. Why? Because then again in your exam hall, you will be given a fixed time, and within that time period, you have to complete your writing, and you have many other things in English language that you have to take care of, right? For that reason, we cannot go on and on by talking about the same thing for too many words, alright? Then we see, avoid wordy prepositional phrases. This means that because we have already learned what are prepositions, in terms of these phrases, instead of saying, let's say, the amount of, we can say for. Instead of saying in order to, we can just say to. Instead of saying due to the fact that, we can say because. Instead of saying in the event that, we can just say if. And finally, instead of saying during the time that, we can say when or while. Number 3 is using jargon. We have already understood what jargon is. Let's look at this example. While the new ST7000 provides extensive memory and is extremely user compatible, it lacks the requisite capacity for calculating at such a high rate of speed. Of course, we do not understand what extensive memory means here. We don't know what user compatible means here. We might not know what requisite mean here and what high rate of speed means here. So you can say there are 4 jargons here. So instead of saying this, you can just say easily, our computer system is easy to use and has enough memory, but it's too slow. Then we see, write with verbs and nouns. Make sure that you put all of the verbs and nouns in your sentences. Like using the active voice instead of the passive voice. Most of the time when we write, unless they tell you to convert the sentences from active voice to passive voice, unless they ask for a grammar topic like this, you have to write as already given in this board. The company sells insurance, not the insurance is sold by the company. The construction crew repaired the road, not the road was repaired by the construction company, okay? Then we see, choose the right verb and the right noun. There is another sentence. Instead of making it too wordy, we can just put it in a few words. Like, Mr. Johnson ran quickly across a 4-lane street, almost falling down when he stepped in a large hole in the concrete. Instead of saying this, ran quickly can be written as sprinted. One word meaning the same. Across the 4-lane street can be explained as boulevard. Almost falling down. Almost and falling down can be expressed as stumbling. When he stepped in a large hole in the concrete, this can be expressed as pothole. So you can see that for these 4 big phrases, we have used just 4 small short words to replace them. Then, once again, we see many examples here for verbs and nouns. Finally, number 5 is format the document to improve readability. If needed, you can use lists, bullets, charts, tables, and many other things. Do we know what are bullet points? Bullet points are that you can say the points are, then give colon, and then write 1, 2, 3, and so on. But as you are writing, make sure that these points follow the 100-word rule. What does the 100-word rule say? This says that all of the points that you write, make sure that each point do not cross 100 words. In that case, it will turn into a whole new paragraph, right?